Hey ladies, it is about 10 in the morning, and I'm just now leaving base because I had to go to the med group to get some stuff done. So I'm hoping y'all can see me, and I'm hoping that y'all can hear me because I'm in the car. So this vlog is going to be the history behind me trying to conceive, because I get asked that question a lot. Because when I started my vlog, we only did one phase of trying to conceive and got pregnant. That's all you guys have seen. But we have been on a trying to conceive journey for about 6 or 7 months before we actually got our BFP. So let me just get right into it. My husband was deployed at the time. Okay, we had already been trying for a while and never got a positive. So we decided, okay, we really need to talk to somebody and see if there's something going on. I figured it was going to be me. I didn't think it would be him. And I was right, it was me. They tested him and everything was fine with him, but when they tested me, it was not fine. And I figured it wouldn't be fine because I've always had irregular periods. And this year they diagnosed me with PCOS, and I had no idea that I had PCOS all of this time. But thank goodness that they actually diagnosed me with PCOS. Let's see, where do I begin? So my husband was deployed, and my PCM, which is my primary care physician, sent me to a gynecologist / OBGYN office here in town. And so I went, and on the first visit they asked, like, why are you here, you know, the usual things. And I told them because, you know, me and my husband are trying to conceive. We haven't conceived any children just yet, and yada yada yada. So we get into, like, you know, my periods and things like that. And then he starts looking at my medical history and everything, and he was like, okay, you have PCOS. Okay, cool. So he's like, I'm going to refer you to a RE. And if you all do not know what a RE is, it's basically a fertility specialist. So they sent me to a fertility specialist, which is a fertility specialist that they work with, or one that is closest to this area. And the one that's closest to this area for me is about 2 hours away. So yeah, I was getting my work in with the whole driving. So made my first appointment with my RE. He, you know, went through my medical history, all that jazz, and then he was like, okay, well, I'm gonna put you on a pill to see if it works. And it wasn't Clomid, it was something with an L, and I can't pronounce it, and I don't remember the spelling of it, but I know that it started with an L. So he put me on that, and I was supposed to take it cycle days 3 through 9. And then it was supposed to make my body release an egg, because apparently my body does not release an egg because I don't always ovulate. And I knew that because my periods are so out of whack. Like, I could go 6 months without having a period, and then come on my period for like 2 months, then go off my period. 2 weeks later, come back on my period for 2 more days, and then go off my period again, and it might not show up for 2 or 3 months. That's just my body, and it's been like that since I've had my first period. So when I told him all that, he put me on a pill. You know, it made me ovulate, and I released an egg. And he told me, you know, the day that I'd be releasing the egg and everything, and to make sure you do the, you know, OPK test and all that stuff. And I did all of that. And then he told me to test at, what was it, 15 DPO. So I did, and I got a negative. So then after I got the negative and my period started, On day 3, I had to go in for testing and things like that. So after that, he was like, well, I want to do a HSG on you. A HSG is where they actually go in vaginally while you're still awake and you're still aware of everything, and they look at your fallopian tubes to check and see if they're open or if they're closed or blocked or anything like that. They just shoot this dye into your body, and it's supposed to have the dye come out of your fallopian tubes. Well, my tubes were blocked or closed or whatever you want to call it, but them suckers, they was shooting. He was shooting that dye up in there, and it was just coming straight out my hoo-ha. Like, it wasn't going nowhere except out my hoo-ha. And it was starting to get really messy. And you know how they do, like, 1 syringe? No. This guy did 3 syringes of the dye on me to make sure that it was, really closed. And he ran out of dye because he was like, I want to make sure that I'm not seeing stuff and that, it really is closed. So it really was closed. So they had me go through a surgery, which is like a laparoscopy, however you pronounce that word, but y'all know what I mean, where they make the 2 incisions, one in your navel and one right above your hoo-ha, like just a little bit below your abdomen but above your hoo-ha, that sort of thing. And after my surgery, he told me that, my tubes opened up perfectly. He said my left tube didn't shoot the dye out as fast as the right side, but it did shoot it out. It was just late on the reaction of shooting it out. But he said everything looked fine, everything was clear, everything was good to go. So the next month, he started me on the injectables, and the injectables that he started me on was Menopur and Cetratide. The Menopur I took at night, every night, up until he told me to do my trigger shot. And the Cetratide was to make sure that my follicles stayed in my ovaries long enough for them to mature so that, I could have a good ovulation. So, did that, and I got a BFN. So, after that month, then I started a new month where I went in on cycle day 3. And I went in to do the testing and everything, and he found that there were cysts on my ovaries. But before that, I had an incident that right after my ovulation, I want to say like a week or 2 after my ovulation, I was like having these really bad stomach pains, almost to the point where I could not sit up. It felt like somebody was stabbing me in my stomach. My stomach was swollen. So my RE told me to go to the ER, and when I went to the ER, they found out that my ovaries were about to explode, because apparently when I ovulated, my ovulation didn't release all of my follicles like it should have. It only released a couple of them. So the baby ones that were only like 5 or 6 in size were now like full grown 18, 19 size, and they were pushing on my ovaries. So they had to get my body to release all of those, and when it did, everything cleared itself up. So back to, the cyst on my ovaries. Got the cyst on my ovaries, and for that month he put me on birth control. Now, after the month of birth control, I went in again on cycle day 3 when my period started, and he did the testing, and everything was good to go. So we started on the injections again, and I knew, what to expect with the injections and how to do them. I wasn't a guinea pig anymore. We was on it. So did the injections for about 2 weeks and did the trigger shot. My last period was September 27th. My trigger was October 9th, I believe. It was October 9th. And my conception date was the 11th. That was the day that I actually conceived our baby. And I got my BFP, thank you God, and went in for my testing, and boom, there it is. So yeah, that's my my story on trying to conceive and my information on the injectables. And yes, it is possible to get pregnant off of injectables without having to do an IUI or without having to do IVF. So for all of you that are trying to conceive still, keep hope alive and baby dust to you. For all of you that are in your TWW, which is your 2-week wait, I want to wish sticky dust to you all in hopes that you will get your BFPs this month or next month. 2013 is the year. Don't give up hope, you guys. And as always, I love you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.